Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that, tries to cut through the noise and get right to the core of what's actually happening. So think about your skincare routine for a second. Maybe it's simple, maybe it's quite involved. We tend to put a lot of trust in those products, right? Trusting they'll work, and maybe more importantly, that they're actually safe. But have you ever really, paused and thought about how they get tested, how they're developed? How do we really know they're okay before they, reach our bathroom shelf? Well, today we're kind of peeling back the layers on exactly that. We're diving into a really fascinating brand new patent application. It's from a huge name in skincare, Kose Corporation, and they're working with the GK University on this one. And our mission today really is aimed right at you, the curious skincare user. We want to get our heads around this pretty advanced science. Why does it matter for the skincare world? And what could it actually mean for the stuff you might be using every day?
That's exactly it. We're looking at a U.S. patent application just published July 24, 2025, so very recent. And what it describes is well, pretty sophisticated work. It's all about creating much more realistic human skin models.
Yeah.
In the lab.
In the lab, wow.
Yeah, it's potentially a really big step for the whole industry.
Okay, so let's start unpacking that. Kose Corporation. Maybe the name itself isn't instantly familiar to everyone listening, but they are absolutely massive in the beauty world, right?
Definitely. A global powerhouse. We're talking about the company behind brands lots of people will recognize. Brands like Decorte, Jill Stewart, Addiction, Sekuse. There are quite a few.
Right, so names you might actually see on your own product.
Exactly. So this patent application, it really highlights Kose's focus on the cosmetic side of things.
Yeah.
Even within this advanced research, you see, the patent mentions broader uses too, things like regenerative medicine, drug discovery, but Kose's involvement. It's clearly about pushing skincare forward through, well, deep science. They're not just, mixing lotions. They're right there at the scientific frontier.
That really does shift your perspective on a beauty company, knowing that's going on behind the scenes. So, okay, what is it specifically that a company like Kose is trying to patent when it comes to stem cells and growing skin? What's the problem they're tackling here?
Good question. And maybe first, just a quick word on patents like this. A patent application, it's basically a formal way to protect an invention. It lays out cutting-edge research that a company wants to own, intellectually speaking. Gives them an edge.
Right.
And in skincare R&D, companies like Kose, they build up whole portfolios of these patents. It shows a real history of innovation. This specific one, it actually builds on work they've been doing for years in this biotech area, refining things.
Okay, makes sense. They're playing the long game. So let's get into the science bit. The patent title is a bit of a mouthful. Method for inducing differentiation from pluripotent stem cell to epidermal keratinocyte. Can you break that down? What are these keratinocytes and why grow them from stem cells?
Right, let's simplify that. So an epidermal keratinocyte, that's basically the main cell type in your epidermis.
The outer skin layer.
Exactly, the very top layer. Think of them as the bricks that build your skin's protective wall. They make keratin, that tough protein shield.
Okay.
So if you want to test a new cream, you need realistic keratinocytes to see how they react. And the core problem, the challenge this patent tackles, is that making truly realistic 3D skin models in the lab, it's been really, really tough. The old methods, they often produced models that were kind of incomplete. They lacked a really robust, multi-layered, horny cell layer.
The horny cell layer.
Yeah, it sounds a bit funny, but it's the stratum corneum, that absolute outermost protective bit of your skin, the part that faces the world. And if that layer isn't properly formed in the lab model, well, testing product safety or effectiveness is just not giving you the full picture.
Okay, I think I'm getting it. It's sort of like trying to test a really good rain jacket, maybe?
Also,
Well, if the test jacket only had the outer shell, but none of the, waterproof membrane or the inner lining, you wouldn't really know how well it works in a store, right?
that's a great analogy. Absolutely. You need all the layers working together to see the real performance.
So you need the whole skin structure.
Precisely. And that leads us to the real innovation here, the aha moment in this patent. They've developed a new technique. It produces a three-dimensional cultured skin model with a multi-layered horny cell layer, and they're using pluripotent stem cells.
Pluripotent stem cells, those are the really versatile ones.
Exactly, like iPS cells, induced pluripotent stem cells. These are amazing because you can take, say, an adult skin cell, reprogram it back to a state where it can become almost any cell type.
Wow.
Including these crucial skin keratinocytes. So this is a big deal because it lets them create lab-grown skin that is much, much closer to actual human skin. a better testing ground.
Okay, much better skin models.
Huh.
So how are they doing it? You mentioned the patent talks about guiding the stem cells and then something called a non-detached cell approach. What does that actually mean, non-detached? Are they just
Yeah.
not pulling the cells off the dish?
Essentially, yes. But the way they do it is the clever part. It's quite precise. Imagine you're growing this tiny patch of skin. Traditionally, you might grow some cells, then use an enzyme or something to detach them, lift them off,
Right.
and move them to a new dish to expand. But doing that repeatedly can stress the cells out. It can affect the quality.
Ah, okay. Stressing the cells isn't good.
Not ideal, no.
Yeah.
So this non-detached method from Kose and University, it streamlines things. They start with those iPS cells. Then the key is how they culture and subculture them. That just means moving them to new dishes as they grow. They do this without using those harsh detaching agents for much of the process. They let the cells grow more continuously, undisturbed on their foundation.
So how long?
The whole process, according to the patent, takes about 36 days to get the final 3D skin model.
Okay.
And the big advantage, this gentler, non-detached way leads to much higher quality, more stable production of those keratinocytes, and ultimately a better, more realistic 3D skin model.
That makes intuitive sense, actually. Being gentler helps. But how do they prove it works better? Is there hard evidence in the patent?
Oh yes, absolutely. And this is crucial. The patent provides really clear proof. They show direct comparisons. When they put their new non-detached method up against older methods where cells were detached using traditional techniques, the difference is pretty stark visually.
How so?
Well, the older methods often produce models where that vital horny layer, that protective barrier, was patchy or incomplete. You could literally see gaps. It just wasn't properly mimicking real skin.
Not good for testing, then.
Not at all. But with their new approach, they consistently get a well-formed, multi-layered outer barrier, just like the real thing. They even quantify it, showing they achieve, I quote, 100% multi-layering horny cell layer. That's a clear win.
Wow, 100%. That's definitive.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about detachment. They also talk about optimizing other things, like using specific coatings on the ditch's eye matrix they mentioned to help cells survive early on. And when they do need to handle the cells later, they use newer, gentler enzymes like something called Type Select instead of older options like trypsin that can be more damaging.
Meticulous.
It's all about refining every step for the best possible outcome. Real detailed science.
Okay, so they've cracked how to build these super realistic skin models. What can they be used for? The patent mentioned quite a range.
It did. Things like drug discovery, testing cosmetics, which is Kose's clear interest, but also regenerative medicine, and even potentially therapeutic purposes for humans. It's broad.
So testing new medicines, new creams, maybe even skin grafts one day.
That's the potential, yes. The core breakthrough, to sum it up, is this really effective, reliable way to create these multi-layered 3D skin models from stem cells. Developed by Kose and the GK University, mainly thanks to optimizing the culture process with that non-detached cell approach. It yields much better results, especially for that all-important outer skin layer.
Right. So bringing it back to the listener, to you, why should you, as someone who buys and uses skincare, actually care about all this lab science? It sounds complex, but it really does connect back to your routine.
Definitely.
Think about it. This kind of advanced skin modeling means companies like Kose can test new ingredients, new formulations with much greater accuracy, right there in the lab.
Yeah, much more reliable testing.
Which means, hopefully, the product that eventually reaches you could be significantly more effective and safer, too.
Because they've been vetted on models that are far closer to your actual skin.
And there's another important angle, too, isn't there? The ethical one.
Absolutely. Better lab models like these support more ethical testing. They have the potential to significantly reduce the need for animal testing in the cosmetics industry.
Which is a huge positive.
A very big positive for many consumers and for the industry's reputation. And if you look at the bigger picture here, this isn't just about one company's patent. It's about pushing the science forward, creating a more robust, more precise foundation for how the entire skincare industry understands skin and develops products. It's about getting down to that cellular level, ensuring things work as claimed and are as safe as possible. Imagine the potential for developing new active ingredients when you can test them this rigorously.
It really does spark the imagination, doesn't it? Thinking about the future. Imagine where this could lead. Skincare products that are maybe perfectly tailored to your unique skin type, your specific needs. All thanks to incredibly precise testing on these sophisticated lab models.
Personalized skincare at a whole new level.
Exactly. What kinds of innovations might pop up next? How might it change how we deal with everything from, I don't know, aging to acne when we have this level of precision?
It opens up a lot of possibilities.
It certainly does. Definitely something fascinating to think about. Well, that's all we have time for on this deep dive into the future of skincare testing. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, stay curious and maybe take a closer look at the science behind the products you use every day.